I'm Jacelyn Shu. I work in the BRC and I am the lab manager for Judith Weng. I'm running a scientific illustration and communication workshop for the members of the BRC, and the goal is to help people in the BRC, so anywhere from grad students to postdocs to faculty, to help them improve their scientific communication and illustration skills. Scientific illustration is illustration used in the context of scientific communication. So if somebody has some complicated methods or some experimental setup that is difficult to explain using a bunch of words, then using an illustration or graphics would be a lot easier to get the point across. I did my master's in the department, and during the course of my master's, I started learning how to make graphics for myself, for my thesis, to use in presentations and talks and posters. Through that process, I was able to practice making my illustrations and kind of distilling my science down into a way that was more accessible and that I found more understandable to present to people. I proposed this workshop because I thought that scientific communication and illustration were valuable skills that every scientist should have, but were not necessarily taught in the formal classes in grad school. Better visual communication is important in science because it helps scientists to more effectively convey their research and reach more people. So I think one of the hurdles that I'm trying to get over or help people get over with this workshop is helping them to see themselves as scientific communicators who can use the skill set of bringing in graphics into their communicating of their science. The first step is teaching people how to use the software, because I think that's one of the biggest learning curves that keeps people away from trying to start making their own figures and stuff. But I think another thing that I'm going to try and address in this workshop is how to actually distill some complicated concept down into a way that is linear and can be conveyed using graphics in a manner that is accessible to other scientists, but also the public.
So what motivated you to join this workshop?
So I wanted to be able to do my own illustrations so I could make my future presentations pop and just be like amazing. But I feel like learning how to use Adobe Illustrator was a really daunting task and really hard to do on your own. So just having someone be able to explain it so clearly and just get you started on it for the future really helped a lot, and I really appreciate it.
So I have a lot of different organisms that I study in my research. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to learn how to illustrate a lot of them for presentations and for parts of figures for my upcoming thesis. So yeah, this was a great chance, just as I was finishing the majority of my lab work, so some time opened up, and then now I get to learn a lot about how to illustrate those organisms in Illustrator. It's been great.
And for me, I think a lot of what I study can be a little confusing or very complex, and I wanted to find a way to break it down into something that can be digested, and I thought illustrations and graphics would be a good way to do it. And so I joined the workshop and I felt like I learned a lot and I was able to accomplish that goal.